Wanted to do a quick vertical live today. I was sitting here thinking on some stuff, um, and I was thinking about rules and laws and things that are kind of dumb. Um, First of all, laws and rules are made up to control us. And as I've said before, I kind of believe in a little bit of everything. Um, I've gotten to the point in my life that I feel like it's pretty stupid for a lot of the laws that we have. I mean, we have all kind of laws that's on the books that no longer are relevant. I know this is going to sound funny to some of y'all, but I know in Wisconsin that it's on the law books that it's illegal to order a cheeseburger without cheese or stupid stuff like that. But I've also was just curious on what laws are constitutional and which ones are not. And I was looking at what is considered laws. And the thing of it is every law that we have, it seems like is unconstitutional. Uh, just as, for instance, the federal government doesn't have technically laws. They have acts and bills, and then those bills and acts, those um, they hint that it's okay to put laws on people. Uh, just like with child support, they say that they can take away your license in Texas. Well, how does that make any sense? If you have child support back owed, and then you take a driver's license away, how are they supposed to get to work back and forth? Um, that's the thing is a lot of things. A driver's license is giving you the right to get into a vehicle and drive. I don't think there ever was a horse law stating you have to have a license to drive a horse. Uh, a driver's license is supposed to be for your violations that happen as of driving. That's how that's supposed to record that. And they've entwined the other laws into that, or acts, excuse me. And it's a state thing, not a federal thing. Um, just like I was trying to understand Texas laws and federal laws, there's really not the Constitution and stuff is a broad document, and I'm not trying to convert people into, but go up and look up, like just type in a Google search, or if you have Chat GPT, they what they do is they put these laws in these acts. And I was like, I just want to know basic, laws, like when it comes to, you know, stealing and stuff like that. And see, that's another thing is voting. If you get charged with a felony, you are no longer allowed to vote. And what I don't understand is some people will agree with me on this and some people won't. Um, when somebody gets put in jail, I don't know, city jails or anything like that. But federal, they're not allowed to vote. And when they come out, they're not allowed to vote. They have to literally get that right back instated. They have to get a lawyer. They have to do this. They have to do that. They just to get their right to vote again. And technically, after they've had their duty, they should that should be considered time served, and your rights are if they want to consider it a issue of when you're incarcerated, you can't vote or you can't that that just doesn't compute with me. Is if you're still a citizen, you still have that right to vote. Now, people will say that's ridiculous. They're behind bars. They should no. They're they're allowed to read books and watch TV and have air conditioning, and I mean they have basic rights of medical care and everything else. Why are you taking away their right to vote? That doesn't make much sense to me. Um, Also, on laws, I mean, if they're made up to control people, they're made up to have order of some sort. Now, I'm not saying go out there and act like a fool and not get in some kind of, if you do something wrong, you deserve the outcome of it, but you don't take away fundamental rights. And see, that's the thing is everybody's like, get the first, and see, that's the thing. In jail, you can worship any god you want, but you can't vote. And of course, you can't walk around in prison with a gun. But that's the thing is, why is certain things taken away from you? I mean, you don't get put in jail and then for committing a crime, and the warden gives you a handgun for protection. But they give you your basic rights of, you know, health or being seen by a doctor, or you're free to choose worship whatever you want to there. They don't talk. I mean, that's not there. You also have the freedom to say how you feel, in between. But I mean, I think you could talk to the jailers too. You have the right to talk to them. Um, that's the thing is laws are meant to control us. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not all about, hang on just a second, but I'm not saying that those are the right way or the wrong way. Um, but it's ridiculous. Why do you take away those basic freedoms? And when you get out, you have to re go through all this process like you're becoming a U.S. citizen again. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. My ex father-in-law, he got in some trouble. He was breaking into schools and stuff like that. He didn't use a weapon, but when he got out, he was no longer allowed to have a firearm. And he was wealthy enough to have lawyers and things like that. So he could never get that back. Now I don't know. I don't ever remember him going and trying to vote. I don't think. I don't think. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if he ever did or not. I know his mother was very Democrat. Um, but that's the thing is like laws are there. They're made up, and they're made up to control the masses, and that's the problem. And that's where I stand on things. Is if you've done your time, you should still be able to vote. I think you should still be able to vote in prison. I don't really know if it's. I just. I don't know if it's just because they want to keep control over you as much as possible. And if I'm wrong, y'all let me know. I don't. Like I said, But I think laws, yes, they're good, but they need to plainly state what is and what isn't. And just like um, I read, I read in some, I can't remember what it was, but it states that um, I think it's the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I think that's in one of our preambles, or it's in something I can't remember. But that's the thing is how if you have to go through all these hoops to for life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, like you're becoming your own business. You own your own business. Well, you have to have a license for this, and you have to have a license for that. You have a license for that. And that it says you have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That's what the what it says. So you get charged a license for this. You get a charge for this. You have, and that's ridiculous. Um, Tax laws. If you make X amount of dollars, or you are like, I don't know all the ins and outs of this stuff, and I'm trying to understand it because I'm trying to build something. I'm trying to build my own brand, my own thing. And that's the thing is like, I mean, how many hoops do you have to jump through? I mean, I can understand where as a restaurant or you're selling baked goods. I mean, I think they need to make sure that it's safe, but I mean, it's not. To me, it's ridiculous. Um, just as thing that's just ludicrous. I don't know how it is in other countries, but I've seen other countries where they have market just right out in the middle of the street, and they're selling fish or whatever. Little bit is getting into stuff. That's why I keep looking. She's playing over there by the door. But anyway, let me know. I mean, I want to know these rules, but that's the thing is like, I mean, literally like they're in acts, and they're in codes. And do you really think an officer really knows every law there is? No. Um, and I also was thinking along the lines of, do you take everything to court? Do you, if you get arrested for something and say, no, I want a trial. Well, okay, well, because you have the right to dispute. So for you to be able to challenge the law, it has to be broken And then you could say, no, I want this to go into a jury. Okay, well, that goes into constitutional stuff. So you have to find a judge that will take that case, and then you have to figure out all this other hoopla to go through. And I don't know if this is just an American thing or if this is something that's. I'm pretty sure it's probably. Uh, I mean, I know a lot of other countries are a lot more. Uh, they have a lot more laws on the books, so to speak. But and then that's the thing is like, how do you know something is against the law until unless until after you've broken the law? And that's the thing. Like, I don't understand on that. I don't understand why we have people that say, "Oh, that's against the law. Oh, that's against the law." Well, how do you even know it's a law? I mean, yeah, we in our driver's ed books and stuff. It's just you got to follow the traffic signs, the warning. You know, you have to. How's it going, bird? Per, uh, I'm going to murder that. I'm just going to call you birds. Hello. But that's the thing is, how do you know that? How do you know what's a law and what's not, and what somebody else is making up? I mean, seriously, like I know from what I'm reading, I read somewhere like it's a old law, but it's still in the books. You can't cuss in front of a lady. You can't walk on the there's all kind of different laws, and they say they're laws, but they don't enforce them unless it's a traffic violation. Well, then we're going to put that on your driver's license that you cussed in front of a lady, or you spit on a sidewalk, or you ordered a cheeseburger without cheese. I mean, ridiculous laws that are on the books. Um, you can't. I mean, stealing a horse is a punishable offense here in Texas. Um, but I mean, and like I was thinking the other day, I'm like, well, if they take your driver's license, what's your other option? Can you ride a horse to work and tie him up on the outside of Walmart? That's not going to happen unless you're up in Amish country. They have buggy parking there. Uh, you know what can what can you still do? Uh, like I said, if you've been in a you have a felony, you can't own a firearm. And I don't know if it's the same as like with a crossbow or bow and arrow. Or I know in Texas we're allowed to walk around with samurai swords on our backs. You can just like I can carry my tomahawk wherever I go. I can in the state of Texas. There's all kind of different laws. In your state or country, it could be something different, and that's what I'm trying to explain. Is laws are meant to be challenged, and sometimes I think that what a lot of people forget is a lot of the things that they say are laws are actually unconstitutional. In the United States, is unconstitutional. It's also a lot of, and I agree with our current. It should be a state thing, but it also should be a personal thing, also. And I think that if we're going to pass laws and rules that everybody in that jurisdiction of that state, county, city should be voting on it. And that's called direct democracy. And I think if you're going to put something on a group of people, that group of people needs to vote on that. And see, that's another thing. As I've said before, my Native American stuff, and I believe this is how it was happening in Ireland too. Is you vote on the that you vote on what you want passed. You vote on it. If it passes, it passes. If it don't, it don't. You go back to the drawing board. And I know that sounds radical, but that's the only checks and balances we have. If America was a democracy, that's how it would work. And it's not. It's not a democracy because a select few, just like city ordinances, we had, it was called One Love Longview. And this lady, they had the homeless population. They were taken care of. It was a nonprofit taking care of them on private property in the city. Well, now I just read that they're having an issue again. Well, One Love had taken care of that, and they said no, you're violating the city code, blah blah blah. Well, the city, if it's private property in the city, it's their property still. That doesn't work. Then you have an eminent domain where the city or state can come in, force you to sell your land so they can put a road through it or some kind of infrastructure for the city. Then you have county things, you have state things. How do we know that we've broken the law until how do we know that? Now I'm not saying go out and break every law and everything uh just to say it's there. Now traffic stuff is a given, like I said. But when it gets into these hairy kind of like the laws containing marriage and equality, those are acts, and they're, I mean, like they've abolished slavery and prohibition, and those, I mean, there's like what, 27 amendments, 20, I think it's 27, 26, something like that. But that's basic, and that's what I don't understand is how do we combat the problem of things that have gone wrong, and but they block it because they say it's unconstitutional. Well, let's put that up against you. If you do something wrong, I challenge you. If you get thrown in jail or whatever for something, ask them, say, hey, I want a jury. And then you have to prove that this law exists or doesn't exist. That's my thing. That's what I don't get. And that's why I don't understand a lot of these things. And this is why I say what I do, is because it doesn't make logical sense to say laws are they're laws and you broke them. Well, can you show me that law? Can you show me where I broke this law? Well, can I show that you broke a law also? And that's what I don't understand. You know, we we can get into trouble for the simplest things. The simplest things. Oh well, you broke it. Well, I didn't know that existed. Well, it does, and you too bad you broke it. So you're going to go to jail for it, or you're going to get a fine for it, or we're going to take this away from you, or that away from you, or you can't do this now because you've gotten in trouble for this. It'd be something totally different, but yet you're getting in trouble for it. So I don't want, like I said, I don't want everybody going and breaking laws or getting in trouble on purpose. But the next time you do, even when you're sitting at your home and you just think, "Oh crap, did I just break a law? They put me in jail for." Think about it. Think about it. Think about if you go out in public, just like I'll tell you this story. When the first night we arrived in Van Buren, Arkansas, when we moved up there, we pull up to a local Walmart. This girl steps out of her car, goes in. Well, she's a group of people and has nothing on but fishnet. And I'm serious, nothing on but fishnet. She walks through Walmart. They don't give her any problems. Well, I'm a native. I use my Native American stuff because I would much rather walk around barefooted or without a t-shirt on, or that's just the way I'm comfortable. Well, I got sent to the hospital and they put me out in the waiting room. They're like, "You need a shirt." And I'm like, they just brought me in here on an ambulance and my chest was hurting. And well, they gave me a gown or whatever. I'm like, I'm at the hospital. I have leads connected to me and I'm sitting out in the waiting room. Well, you have your leads on me that the EMS put on. They didn't tell me to grab. They didn't, grab a shirt. I didn't have my shoes. I had pants on, shorts on, but they had put leads on me and IV in me and all that other stuff. But that's what's weird is like if you technically have clothes on, you're not naked. And when I walked, I was like, oh crap, where did we move to? And it was the first night we were there. And so that's where I'm getting at is challenge laws, challenge the system, challenge if you believe that something has discriminated you against, I would, and I think I'm going to start doing it too if I get in trouble, which normally I don't. But I'm just stating the facts that you gotta. What laws you break? What laws did? Where are they at? Well, are they in an act or a addition or something? A code in a code of conduct, basically. Where are they at? Can you, when you get pulled over for something, you can say no. You don't have no right to search unless an officer gets a judge to do it. There again, you got to jump through these stupid hoops. Or a lot of people are like, well, if you ain't got nothing to hide, then which that's fine if you believe that way. But just know that there's not a lot of trust in the system of that. Just remember that they're good at saying that something's a law when it's really not. And so that's what I want everybody to take away from today is if there's a law and you supposedly break it, then they need to prove you. If you, like I said, I feel that way. I think if I get into any kind of trouble, I may just that's what I may turn to is okay, fine. I want a jury. I want somebody to say that this was wrong, or even a constitutional thing. If our Constitution was a framework and it was supposed to be able to change with the time, but we also have people that like to manipulate. And I think the whole pursuit of happiness and all that stuff, that's from, opening up your own business to your personal life. If you, whatever makes you happy. Sorry, guys. Well, you see, it's 10:15, well, 10:15, yeah, in on my time. And I just took my meds and they make me tired. I'm sorry. It's one, normally I do them at 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, but I wanted to have time to get on here for my people that's over across the pond. And everybody's like, you're always on so late my time. I figured I'd go on early today. But that's what I'm saying, guys. I truly believe that sometimes people will say it's a rule or it's a law or it's this, that, the other, and there's nothing there. And I think that that's part of where we need to start standing up and say, no, you're not going to control us. Now, like I said before, I I believe in some things of anarchy. But I also still do believe in law of some sort, even if it's I think a watered down. You did this wrong. This is unethical or moral. So you have, and no, I don't. Um, like I know in Texas, if you get put in jail, you can get on like a honor. What do they call it? Excuse me, sorry, y'all. Um, you can work while you're in jail to work off your fines or whatever. Uh, I mean, they have commissary too there. So I mean, I don't know. I've had family go to jail or whatever, and family members have sent money for them to have their cigarettes or whatever their junk food. Um, but that's that's where I stand on things. Is like, I mean, do you? I had I had a family member, well, in law, that got put in jail for X amount of years or whatever. And when he came out, he looked at law books. I mean, and he was smarter than an attorney. Like, nope, that's not going to work. Nope, you're not doing that. Nope. And every time he got in, well, somebody got in trouble, he was basically bailing them out. And it's funny. It was just funny the way he just was like, nope, nope. And so that's the thing. is I'm not trying to say go out and break laws and do stupid stuff. If you're speeding, you're speeding. If you're driving under the influence, but there again, the license is for moving violations while you are driving a vehicle. That's what they're supposed to be tracking with that. Social Security is supposed to be tracking your retirement stuff. Uh, Whatever. Your passport is to track your movements through countries, other countries. So all you little rich people that like to go to Cancun, well, I don't know if Cancun, but other countries, that's what your passport's for. Your driver's license is for your driving record. I mean, just remember that. Remember that. Because, like I've said before, driving isn't a law, it's a privilege. Uh, and if you're doing something behind the wheel, then that determines, that's technically that's what that's for. Uh, I think a lot of people don't realize that. And it's not that I'm trying to get you to fight the system. I just want you to understand. Uh, you know, no, I am not a lawyer. I am not a lawyer. I, the way I think on things is that's just the way I feel. And being, like I said, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not giving advice, but it's just the way I think. It's the way that I believe that we should be taking care of each other. Um, if you're breaking a moral law, that also steps into that's part of your freedom of religion. If you if your religion calls for whatever, well, let me put it this way, and this is the simplest as I can get. When Because I know this because I was supposed to be part of this whole thing, but when Waco went down, David and them is my freedom of religion, my freedom to bear arms and stuff like that. They had that freedom. They also had the freedom to believe they wanted to. Now, this is just they have the right to believe and practice their religion. The Branch Davidians believed that the United States government was eventually going or was attacking them because of their religious beliefs. And what happened is up in debate. That he was planning something against the U.S. or whatever. But we don't know that. Uh, just like what happened in, like I said, I grew up in this time. I grew up during Oklahoma City. That was terrorism. But for so the question is, how do I know so much? For one, I'm always learning. For two, I'm always watching and watching others. I watch how people move throughout their life. I watch how animals move. I watch how I move. Sometimes I put myself in checkmate because then I'm like, what the hell? I just did this to myself. And I've had to walk myself backwards. That's how my brother asked me the same thing. How you become so smart? It's not that I'm trying to be, it's because I want to learn. I want to make sense of something that doesn't make any sense. And when that happens, I have to express it. I can't not unsee it. And that's the thing is I think so many other people, I believe everybody that comes in my channel, I think y'all are probably smarter than I am. But we don't we look and we say, okay, well, if we sit back and look at something and say that doesn't seem right, it's probably not. Us humans have a very bad problem on trying to control each other. Like I said, wake up. They had every right to, if they wanted to believe David was Jesus, they had that right. Now, I don't, they try to, connect them with other crimes. I mean, I don't know. I don't, but just like, I'm going to bring this up. When TBN, Trinity Broadcasting Network, I just watched it last night. They said, well, this is how they put it. If you give $20,000, this other place will match it $20,000. And this was their first scheme. Well, they took out a loan for the first thing for $20,000. Well, they got their $20,000, but they got they got like $30,000 in donations. Well, the $20,000 paid off whatever the loan for them to start up whatever, and they pocketed the other 10 grand. And that's how they operated. And it's probably how they operate now. But that's what I'm saying is when something seems off, especially when it comes to laws and things like that, you have to challenge it. And like I said, I'm not going to go out there and cause problems with cops. I am good friends with our sheriff's department where we live. And every time he comes by, and if I have a question, I'm talking to him. Hey, I got a question. And that's the thing. And they're just trying to do their job. Just like I'm gonna put this out here. Gambling in the state of Texas is against the law. We can have bingo, and we can have games we have gaming rooms, and one down the street, and then there's another one, and I was really shocked on the other one because the lady passed away. Her name was Wanda, and I loved her burgers. But we went in there. We hadn't been in there in a while, and I was like, "Well, where's Miss Wanda?" And she was like, "Oh, you didn't hear?" I'm like, "No, she passed away the same year as my mom and my aunt did." And I'm like, "Oh, really?" And she's like, "Yeah." And I was like, so I looked it up, and she had been battling like kidney failure. Well, about 3 or 4 days ago, my wife was driving. She went to the store. She was driving by. She's like, "Hey, there was a bunch of gambling or those games in the Harrison County and had people in handcuffs." Well, come to find out, and YouTube don't dock me for this. Uh, Illegal drugs was found, so I think they were found there because my wife had said that she had saw people getting arrested there. But Miss Wanda's store, which is just a gas station, and it was supposed to be just a game room. Well, I guess they were paying out cash. Her machines got taken. They took a lot of things, and that's the thing. Is I mean, I'm pretty sure the sheriffs and stuff go in those stores all the time. I'm sure they stop by and check on how's everybody doing, anything. And see, that's the thing is if you're gonna, hi Anna from Italy. What time is it there? And it's well, you see what time it is here, but this is in the morning. Uh, but that's the thing is, I'm pretty sure that but that's the thing. If you're doing something wrong, you're doing something wrong. I mean, they could have arrested the people that work there, but I mean, they can't really. I mean, it's technically the owner, you know. That's the thing is how do you and that and like I said, that's just how I believe on things. It's not that I'm trying to dictate Naples and I wish I could go to Italy, and I'm going to make a joke. I'd probably get fat on lasagna. Well, I already am fat on lasagna. I love lasagna, but I know over there they have like garlic because I make my own here. Garlic and butter noodles. And sometimes I'll put sausage or something in. Oh, I love it. But I'd much rather have it from Italy. I know everybody's like, what you have in Texas is Tex Mex. It's not Mexican or it's not Italian. I know I know certain things aren't really, we've Americanized some things. Um, but anyway, guys, and I really, I really want to know what in other countries too about y'all's laws because I know that we have this laws over here in America, and we have laws across, and then we have UN laws and blah blah blah. And but that's the thing is, I I just want to know. I just want to grow, and that's the thing is, you can't uh, you can't put a price. A lot of people just talk about freedom and the freedom to do what, and that's the thing. And us Americans need to understand when you call something freedom, like freedom of religion, and you're a certain religion, but you want another religion not to have the same rights, you're wrong. You're wrong. You're you're saying your religion takes precedent over somebody else's, and it's usually a Muslim or whatever. Well, they did. No, you cannot blame. Just like I'm no longer going to blame Christians for the things that happened to my Native American, but I will say I don't have to believe that crap. It's not what I believe. It's not, but I will step in and say, your whatever started this. You know, it's if you want to deny it all you want, but no, it's not some made up fairy tale that you're I think honestly, if a religion does something that's you always have one side or the other. You have the lenient ones, and then you have the super strict ones, and then you have one that's in the middle. And that's the thing is, I believe, is part of the problem is people will always say, well, this is against the First Amendment, this is against this amendment, or this is against. But that's the thing is, we just take it. Okay, well, I got a ticket. Okay, well, were you in the vehicle? Were you under the control of the vehicle? That's another thing. Is in Texas, we have open container law. If the container is open, then they can bust the driver. But what if it's and see that's another thing is the passengers can't be drinking either. Um, we have a daiquiri shop in town, and it's got a drive-through. Well, they put an X of tape across the hole for the straw. It's not considered open container, but you put the straw in it, then it becomes an open container. So we have the art walk tomorrow. People can walk up and down, and they do it during the art walk, and walk up and down the streets drinking. You're out in public and you're drinking. You know, I didn't know, but that's an open container out in public. You're not driving. I'm just saying. I I think there's a lot of things that just are screwed up. But when a cop, if you get trouble and if you're driving, ask them where is this law at, and if you get thrown in jail or something about it, if you think unconstitutional wise, and you think maybe challenge it, challenge if you got the means, challenge it. Now again, sometimes, and the thing of it is, you have it. They say you have the right, the freedom to not say anything, and you do have the freedom to have a judge, a jury, even if it's not a big crime. You still have the right. So challenge it. That's the only thing that we have left. Challenge the system. That's what I want you to get y'all to do. Challenge it. Figure it out. That's the only way we're gonna get through a lot of the problems that we have. So, guys, uh, I love y'all. Thank y'all for coming in. Thank you, Miss Anna and Andrea, and Birds for giving me some love. I appreciate it, and I may start doing them about this time every day if I'm awake. Um, My morning med, like I said, my morning meds kind of, if you can't hear it in my voice, they make me pretty druggy. Um, I'm on a beta blocker and some other things, and I just kind of, that's what they do. Um, but anyway, guys, I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all so much for doing y'all's thing. Um, I do want to do some self promoting. I have this. I think this will be my 40th or 41th. Anyway, this is I put out. I have 69 subs, and I have, like I said, 40. I think it's 40. Might be 41 after this one. Videos. And what I'm trying to do is my goal is to get as many videos that equals the amount of subscribers I have. So as the videos go up, I'm hoping that the subs will go up. Therefore, I'm producing enough stuff. Sunday, I tried something with my brother. And I'm in the middle of doing some projects, and I had him recording some of it. But guys, seriously, if you like my stuff, go back and watch my other stuff. And some of my early stuff is, well, it's early. And I'm still trying to figure out my voice. Um, Everybody's like, find your niche. I don't have a damn niche. I'm too way complicated for that. I'm just too complicated for niches. If there's, if there's something that you like, let me know. I do post regularly on the community thing on YouTube. Still not doing Instagram and Twitter. I'm not doing X. I'm sorry, I'm not doing Twitter or X. And I'm not doing separate channels on YouTube. I'm just doing separate playlists. But like I said, I have I have enough out there. And guys, like I said before, I have my good days and I have my bad days and I have my days that are in between. So anyway, guys, I appreciate you. Thank you for watching. Um, Subscribe. Um, look at my old videos. Comment 7 words or more, guys. Make them count. And I will see y'all next time. Y'all have a good one.